Hello, 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 hello. Yes, hello. Look, something absolutely wonderful has happened. Something just so nice and wonderful and good and positive and good. And it's that I've discovered that I've got a twin brother. A twin brother. And I didn't know. I didn't have any idea. Well, I did have, because I got some letters addressed to him, but I just didn't realise. And anyway, I got a detective in England, and he went through the records of the voting and things and found out that I have this brother, and I got in touch with him, and he's an acting coach. He's an acting coach called John Windsor-Cunningham, and awfully good, I'm sure, and well, I'm certain, and so I got in touch with him, and immediately, and he's really only interested. He's really only interested in acting. And so I said to him, look, tell me about acting, because I'd like to be an actor. And he watched me doing the bit that I did on one of my videos here of Hamlet. To be or not to be, that is a question whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And he said, you don't understand the lines. So I thought, oh, okay. And he said, what you've got to do when you do Shakespeare is you have to do them in iambic perimeter. Iambic perimeter. Which means that every other word has to be louder than the other word. So words number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and have to be loud, and words number 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and so on have to be quiet. So those words that I've just been saying would sound like this. To be or not to be, that is the quest. Can whether 'tis nobler to suffer in the slings and arrows of outrage, just fortune or to take arms against her. And I said, well, I still don't understand the lines. And he said, that's because you're old-fashioned, you're British, and you need to learn the American method. So I thought, okay. And he said, you need to learn the Fred Astaire technique. And in the Fred Astaire technique of acting, when you say something, it should be possible for people who are deaf and don't speak English to understand what you're saying. And so if you say a line like, I can see you, then you would say, I can see you. And then they will understand it. So I said, okay. So then they would go like this. So it would be to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind. Oh yes, he said you should wear some sort of costume thing just to give the auditioners an idea of the character you're playing. And when I was in Denmark, they were throwing away some crowns, so I've got this one that I could wear. So whether it is nobler in the mind, to suffer the slings and arrows, and I haven't got any arrows, but slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Oh, it's of outrageous fortune, yes. Of outrageous, so I've got $14 here, so I would throw them up in the air. Of outrageous fortune. So, that would be how you do it. And it'd be rather exhausting doing all of Hamlet like that. But he said, that's what you've got to do. And I still didn't really understand what it was about. And I really wanted to understand the lines. I wanted to understand Hamlet. I was going to be unhappy if I didn't understand Hamlet. So he said, what you need is a modern version of it. Lots of companies in America, and some in England, probably, do productions of Hamlet where they have a modern translation of it. So I found this No Fear, Hamlet, a play plus a translation anyone can understand. The trouble is, I didn't understand it at all. So I wrote my own translation. So, with the words, to be or not to be, that's the question whether it is noble in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. What that would be in a modern translation that anyone could understand is to be one person or to be another person. That's the question. Never mind about the weather. I had my arm in a sling because I made a fortune making arrows. I didn't really understand it all, but I was beginning to get the idea that this was to do with my feelings of having a twin, of having another person that I could relate to. So I was still having trouble with all of this, and trouble with Shakespeare generally, because I just found that all of his plays were horrible. Well, they are. I'm sorry, but I'm being unkind, and I don't mean to be unkind. It's me being stupid. It's my fault that I don't understand the lines. But Shakespeare is horrible. It is, because all his endings are unhappy. Why? There's no reason for most of the people to die at the end of Shakespeare's play. There's simply no reason. Hamlet could quite easily live at the end of the play. So could Romeo and Juliet. It's all very annoying. But, and I've said at the beginning that this would lead to something happy. And it's this, that I discovered something wonderful. Something in this COVID thing going on that is just so wonderful, so liberating, yeah. And it's that in this play, The Tempest, which is, I'm told that Shakespeare, this was his last play, or one of his last plays, and that the end of the play, is bits of it where he's saying the last things that Shakespeare wrote. So I read this and I thought, there must be some line in this, some one line in it, which will show me the secret of why Bill Shakespeare stopped writing. Why did he stop writing? Why did he give up? What was so difficult? What was so awful about life that he had to give it all up? And I found one line in it that I understood. I understood exactly how to say the line. And I looked at all the productions I could find on YouTube of lots of famous actors doing the play. And I bet you a million, and I'm never normally unkind about people, and I'm sure they're wonderful in all the rest of the play, but I bet you a million pounds that you won't find another actor anywhere ever in the history, maybe, certainly not on YouTube, that has got this line right. And he got the line, "I'll drown this book," and he held it up there, and he drowned it, gently, saying goodbye, all my troubles, all of them, there you go. And he drowned his problems.